We are back with the first ever edition of the free agency episode of the Max Coverage podcast. You guys know the deal. I'm Kiefer Gazard. With me, as always, is Max.
Hey, everybody.
We got dropped with some bombs since we last spoke, and we told you guys it was coming. We told y'all it was coming. Let's go ahead and start with the free agency, the quarterback frenzy that we have going on in the NFL. It began to domino fall with Aaron Rodgers. He went ahead and made the decision to stay a Green Bay Packer. So basically a year and a half, all this drama just to do nothing. Max, how are you feeling?
I feel wonderful, man. Good to see you. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we got done with our last episode, the news dropped. I mean, hey, it does feel like this year and a half was just for the headlines. It just, you know,
just for the Instagram
He
likes.
wanted to be the main person in the news, and other than AB. But I mean, hey, it's over. Packers fans, rejoice. It is finally over. This guy signed a 4-year, count it, $200 million deal.
He said that's not true. He said that's not true.
You're right.
That's not enough hundreds, man.
God.
That's not going to get Aaron back.
I'm sorry, guys.
I hope that's not what y'all offered him.
I
guess it doesn't matter because he said he's coming back. He made it official. I'll say this about the whole situation, all right? You make this big deal about, like, you might leave, and we talked about it. I mean, your best chances to win were Green Bay because you weren't going to any other NFC team.
You're damn right.
And my thing about the whole situation is that he promised Pat McAfee that he was going to drop this news on his show. But this is what I think happened. He took way too long to make the decision. Okay, Tuesday started pushing what the Packers want to make moves. You know? The Packers want to make moves, so he can't wait for Aaron Rodgers' hour. So he tells Pat McAfee so that he can tweet it out. That's not as cool.
He called him.
Whatever.
Buddies. They probably had a great
text
conversation
call, same shit.
over the phone.
But McAfee was salty that nobody was giving him credit. Ian Rapp gave him credit, but then after that, people just took the storyline. They were not like, per Pat McAfee, you know?
Like,
so he was a little salty about that, but honestly, I would blame Aaron more than anything. Like, you took so long to make this decision. Like, you could have popped up on my show on a Friday. You know what I'm saying?
No, because it's Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. It happened on a Tuesday. You know, I know he promised he would go on the show, promises. But hey, he kept it. You know, the glass was half full. He told him. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, hey, Pat McAfee was still the one who broke the news.
I mean, that's true, but I still don't like it. I feel like you should have gave him that respect and showed up on the show. Even if you were like, yo, let's just make an emergency video right now.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, because I don't want to just hear you say that you're joining the Packers as an NFL fan and as somebody that loves that NFL drama. I want to hear your reasoning. Hey. You've already connected with your audience on a personal level now, Aaron. All right? We expect you at these Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, man.
Listen, you said as an NFL fan. Well, as an NFL owner, I understand why he did this. I mean, the Packers, we had a lot going on that day. March 8th, Tuesday. You know, the deadline for the franchise tag. We had somebody very, very important that we needed to figure out what we were going to do with, and that was Davante Adams. So, you know, we knew Adams wasn't going to be happy unless Rodgers was back. I mean, let's be honest here. Do you think if we would have tagged Adams, he would have probably held out? He probably would have been like, yo, holding us hostage, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, who cares? Like, that was my thing about the whole situation. Like, honestly, you could have tagged him like a week ago. I guess really they didn't even need Aaron Rodgers to make that decision, in my opinion. Because even if Aaron Rodgers is leaving, I'm not getting rid of Davante Adams just because you're leaving, dude.
Yeah, I know.
But
hey,
let me ask you this, because I kind of forgot how much. Because I know that move brought Aaron Rodgers' cap number down. Do you know what his cap number is now?
I got to double check because a lot of reports have came out, you know, over that past couple days now. But I know his new deal is a very, very salary cap friendly deal. So let me just double check real quick because I just want to get to the bottom line of this. But I don't see it. I mean, They don't have it updated yet.
You know what? They probably don't
number,
have the exact number because there have been so much speculation over what the contract is because it was reported that it was the $50 million a year, $200 million for 4.
And then the numbers were inaccurate, quote unquote.
Aaron Rodgers says that those numbers are inaccurate.
So we still don't know the number, guys, but it's in that
We know
ballpark.
that it definitely helped them get that cap number down.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on because as one domino falls, as we know how dominoes work, here comes the next. Russell Wilson traded. This comes days after, maybe a week at most. It was like a day since that interview.
Oh, I thought you meant after the Rodgers news.
No. I'm talking about because there was like a week, at most a week ago. Russell Wilson was in an interview and they were asking him about the possibility of leaving. And I'll say this, at no point did I feel like he for sure wasn't leaving because all I feel like we really got out of it was that he wanted to stay on the West Coast. Like he said, because he was like, I'm a Seahawks quarterback and like the West Coast fits me better. And it's also reported that the Commanders offered 3 firsts for him. And that deal didn't go through. The Seahawks actually ended up getting like a blockbuster type of deal. 2 first-round picks, including this year's 9th overall, 2 second-round picks. Both of those are for this year, this draft, and then the next draft. And then they have they got a 5th this year, and then they also got Shelby Harris, a starting defensive end for the Broncos, Noah Fant, the former first-round tight end, and then Drew Locke. And then in return, Denver got Russell Wilson and a 4th. So basically, with the 5th and the 4th,
it's like a swap.
Denver basically moves up 1 round from their 5th to their 4th, but then they gave up all the rest of that stuff for Russell Wilson. What are your initial reactions to the trade?
My initial reaction, everybody, was this trade happened because they added Drew Locke in it. I'm kidding. No, but my initial reaction was, holy shit. I mean, first of all, the Russ being traded was crazy, but when the details started coming out, I was like, yo, the Seattle Seahawks got a bunch in return. I mean, 5 draft picks on top of 3 players. I mean, that's 8 players right there, if you think about it that way. Now, you know, I like the Shelby Harris ad. I didn't really know much about him, but I looked up more information about him. He had a pretty nice season last year. I think he had like 9 sacks or so.
It was 6.
6? Oh, well, I mean, he's still a pretty decent guy, but the Noah Fant was a nice addition for them. But they don't have anybody that throws them the ball. You know what I'm saying? They have the weapons.
Drew Locke.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is why it's swayed.
Listen, I mean, there's still time. There's still time for the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with this kind of capital, granted, they did so they still only have 1 first-round pick because of Jamal Adams' trade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They had first-rounders. Yeah.
But I do think that they could get into the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. But it is looking like they're moving to a total rebuild because they got rid of Bobby Wagner, and there have been some criticisms about this trade, even from the Seahawks point of view, even getting all that stuff, because people are saying like the last 5 years they haven't drafted anybody really. But I look at it and I'm like, well, that's true, okay. But overall, over their whole tenure, they have done a good job. It's not like they haven't had any hits. Like you got DK Metcalf in the 2nd round. That's a good hit.
That's a great hit.
I think that this was kind of a win-win, especially after the reports came out with Seattle. You could feel the tension between him and Pete Carroll at times, not always. They were pretty good at keeping smiley faces, but I just remember one time Pete saying that Russell Wilson didn't do enough after they lost in overtime, and just little things like that. And they said that the players felt like Russell checked out midway through the year.
And actually, the report came out literally like a couple hours before we went on this air, that Russ thought the team was like checked out. Like he didn't see any like heart in the team. You know, of course, when he was out that month, they kind of like they kept it afloat a little bit, and they were, you know, able to make a playoff push even when he missed the whole month. But when he came back from that injury, I think he just felt like the team wasn't really like trying. Supposedly, that's what the report said. But it's all
you know what I think about that too. Even like, let's just say that's true. Honestly, Russ, you're the quarterback, bro. So you are a huge leader in this. Like, if you feel that way, then hold motherfuckers accountable, bro.
Exactly.
Like, you have just as much influence as a coach when you're a quarterback, especially when you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I look at that. And then also my other reaction is this. So we all could probably agree that the NFC West is the toughest division in football this year, right?
Yeah, well, to begin the season, for sure, yeah.
I mean, now to me, this totally makes the AFC West the toughest division in football. I still don't think they're going to win the division, dude.
No.
You're talking about a division that includes Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. The good news for the Broncos is that with these 3 playoff spots now, all of you could make it in. But, I mean, that is a crazy tough division. I don't know, man. I mean, that it's really not that much better of a spot. I do think he's in a better position in the sense that Denver's defense is way better.
Yes.
But when I look at the offense, it's not really that much. I wouldn't even say it's better than Seattle. The only thing that it really has going for it that's better is I'll say that they have the fact that they have the 2 running backs
for now.
See. Well, I mean, it's a better situation than the Seahawks as of right now because Rashad Penny isn't under contract. Chris Carson gets hurt every freaking year, and their offensive line in Denver is definitely better than it was in Seattle. But I mean, honestly, I don't even think this is necessarily a better position for you to go win a Super Bowl because it's going to be a tough road to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. I feel like, even when he went, over to Denver, I'm like, first of all, I don't even think they might win the division.
Yeah.
And then second of all, how are they going to come out of the AFC? With the AFC's getting loaded now. They have a bunch of great teams in the AFC right now. Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, Raiders you can throw in there as well. Titans. That's a bunch of teams, Bills, in their way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, even though, he goes to a new team, I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl contending team. They're definitely a playoff contending team, but I don't think they have enough to get over that hump, even with Russ. I mean, it said reportedly that the Broncos were the only team that he wanted to go to if they did get traded. So, I mean, that's probably the reason why the Commanders trade and fall through.
Because he does have a no trade clause, so he has to accept going to that team.
But just for the Seattle standpoint, they are definitely looking in a great shape going forward in the future because number 9 now in the draft, they might go and get that boy Malik Willis. I mean,
they have some options. That 9 pick definitely will give you whoever you want from the draft class at quarterback.
I know it could be a reach, everybody. Malik Willis at number 9, but you got to think about what teams are at. Do you think Malik Willis will be there in the second round? Their second pick?
Hell no.
Exactly.
But also another thing to keep in mind is the Seahawks aren't afraid to reach. I mean, they've done it in the past. Like Rashad Penny was like the deepest. That might have been one of the deepest reaches I've ever seen in the first, other than like the historical like kicker ones and shit. Like,
and what's interesting? I got the report today that it's just a rumor, everybody, but Malik Willis is getting rumored to maybe get picked 2nd overall now from the Lions. From the Lions. That's a rumor, everybody, but still, now there's buzz with Malik Willis.
Well, that would be great
10.
news. I would love that news because you know what that means? You got to come to 1 to get that boy if you want him.
Oh, yeah.
So, hey, we'll see. I don't want to make any predictions about how Denver will finish yet because there's just a long offseason.
Yeah.
Too many variables. But overall, I think that it was fair on both ends of the trade. This is one of the few times where I feel like nobody really got over on the other person. I feel like that's about what Russell's worth. I mean, you could argue that, for me, I would rather have an additional first than Noah Fant, personally. But
they probably couldn't get that, though. They probably were like,
yeah,
all
maybe
right,
not.
come on.
Maybe not. They might have.
I know Pete Power asked for that too.
Probably asked for the world, dude.
Exactly.
But also another thing, I don't think I said this yet, but the Seahawks are still going to take $26 million in dead money on Russ's contract because of the signing bonus numbers that are left. That's going to be over the next 2 years. Another funny thing to talk about for this trade, Jerry Jeudy was going through the emotions because he sent out a tweet after the Rodgers news and he was like, and then
a few moments later,
few moments later, the Russ news, and he was hella happy. So,
and another thing that you pointed out, with the Seahawks releasing Bobby Wagner, they freed up $16.6 million in cap space. So.
No dead money left on his contract.
The guy's a
I am surprised that they weren't able to find a trade partner, but I'm going to assume that's just because of Bobby's age and the cap hit number.
Yeah.
People there's probably some people that think they can get him on a lower number. So we'll see. But I don't know. I don't even know, man, because I feel like Bobby's still playing at a great level.
Oh, he definitely an 8-time All-Pro linebacker. I mean, the dude he has about 3 or 4 more years left in the tank, I feel like. But it's funny. I was thinking about when this trade happened. Imagine Jamal Adams. You go for the Jets, stink, right? And then you have hope again. You're like, oh, I got Russ. This team looks good. Now Russ is
Total
gone.
rebuild mode.
And then you're
after
stuck
they signed
again.
you to the big contract. But you know what? He
Maybe
ain't
it's
got
his
no
fault.
room to complain because I just feel like he's not that awesome of a player. But I think the Seahawks are in a good position to rebuild. I think that they can bounce. We'll see what they do this offseason. I don't think they can turn this around in a year. But
No.
I think that between this offseason and next offseason, they could build a team build it back up to be what it was, as long as you can find an answer at that quarterback position. But we'll see what they do. There's definitely still some quarterbacks out there that you can make moves on. Let's go ahead and move over to another trade, because as the dominoes fall, they fall. So here goes another one. The Colts flipping Carson Wentz after 1 year.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was insane. I mean, we had the huge blockbuster day in the NFL, but, the new day hits. Oh, it's still wild. It's still going. Carson Wentz gets traded to the Commanders. In addition, the Colts receive, 2 second-round picks and a third, but one of the
they
thirds.
Let me go. They get 2 thirds.
Yeah.
But one of those thirds, the 2023 third, can turn into a second round pick if Carson plays 70% of the snaps, which is funny because that was like pretty much the exact deal when he went from Philly to Indy. He had to play 75% of the snaps for it to go from a second to a first. So it's funny that he has that much of an injury reputation that you throw that in there. And then the Colts also received the Commanders' second this year. And the reason that they get their second this year is because they just swapped.
Yeah.
The Commanders are taking the Colts second this year. So the Colts are essentially moving up in the second round, probably about 10 spots. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's probably around 10 to 12. And then the Commanders also get Wentz.
Yeah,
so,
and they have to pay for his whole contract.
That's also, to me, that's Indy's biggest win off of this.
Yes.
Is the fact that the football team is going to take that entire contract on their cap hit. So the Colts free up some money there and don't lose anything on dead money. That was my understanding of how they wrote that up. I didn't even know that was really possible, but hey, sweet.
And Carson Wentz is getting owed $22 million this year with a $6.2 million roster bonus due next week. And then the year after it's $20 million, and then the year after that's $21 million. So the Commanders have their guy, but they're paying a ton for him. So, I mean, I think no matter what, Wentz is a better choice than Tyler Heineke. No offense, Tyler. Or Taylor. Yeah, whatever your name is. But, I just feel like Carson Wentz is definitely a better guy for them, but he's still not going to, he's not going to push that needle. I mean, he's not going to move the needle for me. They're just going to be another, 7-10 team, probably.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not going to predict where they'll be. They do have a good team. I mean, as far as the personnel around it. And they made the playoffs 2 years ago and won the division, but it is worth keeping in mind that that division was ass. They didn't even have a winning record. So, I mean, it's not like they have won a ton of games, but I do think Carson is an upgrade from the last 2 years.
For sure.
I'll say that. I think it is an upgrade from the last 2 years of quarterback play that they've gotten. But let me ask you, overall, who won the trade? Do you think that the Commanders won the trade or the Colts? Or dead split?
I feel like the Colts kind of won this just because, I thought they got a pretty good return for Wentz, honestly. 2/3, one of them could end up a second and a second round pick. You swap. But, no, they didn't swap, did they?
Yeah, they swapped second because
the
Colts move up.
Yeah, so, I feel like that would have, and you got all his contract off your books. Yeah. But the one thing I will say is, what's your next move? Now you don't have a quarterback unless you're not going to throw out Ellinger or Easton.
They said that I think it was Ellinger. They said they're going to give him a chance, but I don't to compete for the starting job. I don't believe that at all. No. But I'm with you. I think the Colts won this trade, and the main reason that I think the Colts won this trade is because I just don't believe in Carson Wentz. I mean, you're literally getting traded 2 years in a row. We've heard this in Philly that he just has he doesn't have that leadership quality to him, and also that he's hard to take. He doesn't take hard coaching well. Yes. So that's just not a great sign to me.
And I feel like this was a desperation move because we just touched on, they offered 3 firsts for Russ. They didn't get him. So they were like, fuck, man, just give us Carson Wentz. at this point. We're desperate for a quarterback over here.
Yeah, and it's funny because they made that list of 42 quarterbacks, and I feel like they jumped the gun here because I mean you're telling me that Carson Wentz was third on that list. I mean, only 2 quarterbacks have been established with Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Everybody else is still out there, man. I mean, to me, rather than trade for him, I'd rather sign Jameis Winston because I don't have to give anything up, and they're about the same. Like, I will put Wentz slightly above Jameis, but ever so slightly. Jameis has a better, like, they have different character traits. Jameis has a way better deep ball, but Wentz is, like, this isn't a strength of his, but he's smarter with decision making than barely, but he is. I give it to him. So I just think, like, I'd rather do that because I'm not giving anything up. And I mean, Deshaun Watson's still out there. We don't know what's going to happen with those sweepstakes. Jimmy G.
That's the
I'd
rumor.
probably still rather have Wentz than Jimmy G.
That's the rumor, guys. And now the Colts are probably going to make a move for Jimmy G. We'll see if it happens. But I mean, like, I think we touched on this our last podcast. We're like, who would you have, like,
over Wentz?
Yeah, you're like Jimmy G. I feel like they're in the same tier bracket. Yeah. I mean, both game management. I feel like Jimmy G would be in the same exact situation he'd be in, heading over to Indy. I mean, you have a great O-line, you have a great running back, a great defense, just like he had in San Fran. So he doesn't really have to put too much on his shoulders. But I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I look at it this way: like, it's definitely a fit for Jimmy. 100%, it's a fit for Jimmy. But if you're the Colts, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, this is like the same shit. We already did this. We tried this.
Yeah.
So we'll see how active they are. I mean, I doubt that the Colts can make a move for Deshaun Watson because that's in division. That's just so unlikely.
That's what I was thinking too.
So yeah, I mean,
or draft one, but
I still like it because I just don't believe in Carson. At some point, you would have had to rip the Band-Aid off, but
I know who didn't like it. Darius Leonard. The maniac.
Darius, I don't know that he didn't like it, but he did have he was very nice to Carson Wentz, and he basically just tweeted out like, "This is my 5th quarterback
in 5
years," which is just insane. But let's talk about the real winner of this whole Carson Wentz situation, Howie Roseman. All right, I just want to put it in perspective, okay? When they had Carson Wentz, they only had 2 losing seasons, his first and his last. They won a Super Bowl during that tenure, obviously not with him winning the Super Bowl, but they still were competitive, made the playoffs for 3 years. Then he pawns him off, runs forward with Jalen Hurts, ends up getting a first-round pick in return, and now they're doing the same thing with Carson Wentz.
Yep.
So to me, good for you, Howie.
Pat on the back, Howie.
You got a shining light on you for this play. Like this move that you made, and you kind of needed it because people were really questioning you over there in Philly for a second. So
Howie.
Good for you. Way to come up and really secure give yourself another little ding on the positive note as a GM. So that's it for the quarterback news. We'll see. We'll get more into that later. Let's go ahead and move on to the players that were franchise tagged. And what I want you to do is give me a yay or a nay on whether they're worthy or not. We'll start with the easy ones. Chris Godwin.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, hell.
I was like, oh, really?
Hell, fucking yeah, man.
Okay, Devontae Adams.
Of course.
Okay, Jesse Bates.
Yes.
Dalton Schultz.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, it was either him or Randy Gregory. I think were the 2 that were tossed.
They were thinking about.
Yeah, and I mean, Dalton Schultz is one of Dak's favorite targets. So yeah, I say yeah.
Gasecki.
Yeah.
David Njoku.
No, that was kind of interesting. But then again, they don't really have a ton of like free agents like that were upcoming that were key. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I don't know. That one I don't know about that one.
Okay. And then Jesse Bates.
Yeah, you said Jesse
Bates.
I
did I? Yeah. Okay, sorry. And then last but not least, Cam Robinson.
What about Orlando Brown?
I already said him.
Oh, you did? No, you didn't. But yeah, I like Orlando Brown too. But Cam Rob, he's getting paid 16 mil, right? That's the average.
And a half.
Damn. I mean,
and
that's a lot, man. I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. I want your opinion on the Cam Robinson news.
For perspective, that makes him the 12th highest left tackle.
Well, my thing is with that is, does it sway who the Jags are going to draft? I mean,
no, I don't think so. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't.
Why not? I mean, Neal is
because we have spots left on the line, dude. I mean, we still have 2 guard spots that are unsecure. I mean, it depends on what you do in free agency too, right? Like before that. But because I think this move affects free agency more than anything. Signing Cam right here.
What do you
tagging
think?
him? Oh, I hate it.
Really?
I agreed with I also didn't like David Njoku, which I'm pretty sure we said already. But Cam Robinson one, I hate it, man. I really do. I just 12th highest paid tackle. I just don't think he's worthy of that number. And when I look at the difference between his salary and the number one tackle, who's Trent Williams, highest paid tackle in the league, he gets paid $23 million a year. So for basically $7 million more, you could definitely, I mean, maybe we'll say 8 just to make him the highest paid. But Armstead, like, I can't stress it enough. Armstead. And this is where I have a real problem with it, because people will be like, well, we don't know that we can get Armstead, right? Like, you don't know that. But one, if you make them the highest paid player at their position, that tends to get you them.
Going to get the highest.
I'm sure that he'll break it. He'll break it. And if you offer the most, you tend to get the player. And let's just even go in a perfect world, and he doesn't sign with us, right? Because he wants to win or whatever. There's still another guy that I would take that I think is probably going to get paid about the same as Cam Robinson. And that person would have been Trent Brown. I was blanking on his name for a second. From the Patriots, he was their right tackle, and he played for the Raiders before that. He's not an all-star, but he's better than Cam Robinson. And let me give you something that I love about this dude. In 2021, he had 1 penalty.
Damn.
1 penalty. Do you know how much of a problem that was for our offensive tackles?
Exactly.
Not just Cam, especially Juwan. Like, that was a huge issue. So that is the first thing I don't like about it. And because to me, Trent Brown would have been my backup option, and then Armstead would have been my first. And even if I got Trent Brown, that actually even works out better in a way, because Walker Little doesn't even have to move. He can stay at left tackle, because Trent Brown, he's played both, but he mostly plays right tackle. So then you have that shirt up right there. And I hate the Cam Robinson move. I really do. It irks the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ton, bro. That's so much money. I mean, I get it's 1 year, but still, there's so many other options out there. Like, even I'm the person that, even you draft Neal or Okonkwo, I don't know what the Jags were gonna tend on doing, but they're both left tackles. You play them at that. I don't care if they can play guard. I honestly don't care.
I mean, Evans has played everything.
That's Evan Neal? Yeah, I know he could play everything, but I'm saying his strength is left tackle. You play guys at a strength.
I mean,
that's
guard's easier to play in general.
I get it.
But there have been, I don't have a problem with drafting a left tackle on top of this, really. But I just think that, I feel sure, honestly, the fact that we did tag Cam Robinson makes me feel more confident and sure that we are going to get an offensive lineman with that first overall pick. Because, first of all, it's definitely going to be his last year. And he's just not that good, dude. Like, he's average at best. I feel like he'd probably fall between 17 and 22 if you ranked the left tackles in the league.
Damn, that's below average.
Yeah, like just below. But I just don't think he's that good, man. And that's just my personal opinion. Like that's just me spitballing where I just feel very confident that I can find 17 left tackles that I would pick over him. So very disappointed to see that move. But since we did make that move, let me just tell you what I am aiming for this free agency. I still want to get an elite guard. I want to get a Brandon Sheriff, okay? Because Brandon Sheriff has been a top guard in this league for a while now, and especially in the run game, dude. He is a monster in the run game. He probably will. He was the actually really close to the highest paid guard. Actually, he was.
16
no, he was close
right?
to. Yeah, he was right at there. Was at 16 mil. And that's probably what it will cost to get him at 16 mil. But I'm willing to pay that to get him. No doubt about it, especially if we're going to rely on people like Cam Robinson at left tackle. I'm definitely going to want to supplement better linemen right next to him.
Hey, man. So, you know what happened last time the Jags paid for a guard?
It was okay. The first year was rough, but Norwell was all right.
Ugh.
He was all right. Just the first year was rough. And then another guy that I would consider, he would be much cheaper because he's not that amazing, is Alex Kappa from the Bucks, but he's definitely solid, and he had no penalties last year, which is easier to do from the guard position than the tackle position. But regardless, I love no penalty guys. So I had to throw that out there. And then Another move that I would definitely be trying to get is and this is kind of an optional move, like only if the market sees fit. So I want to get another tight end, all right?
Of course.
But one guy I had on the list that I'm just going to kind of throw him out now is Evan Ingram, because he's been building up a lot of steam as not only a tight end, but also a slot wide receiver. And I don't really understand why he hasn't been that great, honestly. I kind of thought
sucks at tight end.
I just mean as far as his market, like why it's heating up this much. First thing that kills us, and this is why I think it's possible that maybe we should just pass on getting a tight end altogether, is because so many of those tight ends got tagged. We had 3 tight ends get tagged. So when that happens, you're bumping up people in the market. Like now it's like, okay, I can't get this guy, but I really need a tight end. So if I want to get the top one, I'm gonna have to pay like that guy like more than he would have originally gotten. I think that's gonna work against us. Yeah, I kind of think that's a strong possibility. But if these guys, let's say I'm gonna throw $6 million or under. If you can get any of these guys for $6 million or under, the first guy on my list would be OJ Howard. I just believe in OJ's talent. A lot of people don't like OJ, but one thing I know he can do is block. He's not amazing. He's not a Gronk blocker, but he's a solid blocker. And I just believe in his talent. So I have him 1. Number 2, I'd have Hayden Hurst. He's just shown that he can be reliable. I'm not really sure what he brings in the run game, but they do put him in line. Like he sits in line. He doesn't go out wide all the time.
He's more of a blocker as well.
He can block?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this guy's not really much of a blocker, but I feel like his experience would make him okay, serviceable at it. Zach Ertz, I've been on him since last year. I just think that, first of all, we have Doug Peterson, so that's already a connection right there, which increases the possibility of this happening. But I just think that he has that experience. He's that perfect safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence. And he showed last year when he got to Arizona that he still has game. So
he's been rumored to come to Jacksonville for so
forever,
long now.
Forever. And I just feel like the stars are aligning. He would be my guy that I think is most likely. Yeah. I mean, I'm throwing this guy in here, but I know it's incredibly unlikely. I would go up to $8 million for this dude, but there's no way. Absolutely no way. But I would make the call because I would be a competent GM. I would call Rob Gronkowski. I would call him. He's worked with the GOAT, Tom Brady. I mean, listen, no matter what, Rob is a monstrous blocker. I'm telling you, he has no interest in coming here. Like, he would have absolutely no interest. It would if he comes back next year, it's going to be Buffalo or the Bengals.
You forgot one tight end, though.
Who'd I forget?
Robert Tonyan. He's a free agent as well.
I am not interested in Tonyan at all. Right. And then another thing that I'd be trying to make a priority, but it has dried up real quick. That wide receiver market, man.
Yeah, that's no good now.
Honestly, after looking at it, I'm like, shit, man, we should maybe tag Chark instead after how slim this shit got.
Yeah, right.
But regardless, I didn't want to tag either one of them. But the guys that I would be aiming for the highest would be Michael Gallup would be 1. We don't know what's going to happen with him in Dallas. Nothing's happened yet. And he didn't get the tag.
They're close on a deal.
Quote unquote. That's what they're reporting.
Yeah, they're close on a long-term deal.
It probably will happen, and if that happens, then we expect Cooper to become a free agent, and then I would be super aggressive. I actually hope that happens because I would want Cooper way more than Gallup. No offense to Gallup. I mean, he's a good, talented player, but Coop is just so established. I would take him in a heartbeat.
Now they're saying Dallas might want to trade Cooper instead of releasing him.
Yeah, but it might be hard to do that.
Yeah, I don't understand that move. You said you're going to cut him, and then you're like, wait, we want to trade him. So it's like his value just kind of deteriorated.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't understand
for sure. And another thing is I don't know how it will work. I don't know if it still works the same with this. I'd have to look it up, but I just thought about it in real time. If they cut him, I don't know if they'd get a comp pick for him signing a new contract. I don't think that they would.
They will. I don't think they will either.
Yeah, that's one that I'm watching hard. Whether it's Gallup or Cooper, both of them would be 1. Number 2 is Odell. And the only reason Odell is 2, which he probably wouldn't even be interested. Like, I'm just being real. He probably won't even be interested because he wanted to be on a contender last year. So, but the exception to that, this is why I still have him on my list, is because he didn't make no fucking money last year. So
yeah, well, went the Bitcoin.
Right, and the Bitcoin that crashed, so he didn't make that much money this year. He might be looking like, okay, I'm still 29. I've got time for a big payday. If he is, I would love to give it to him, but the reason that I don't have him 1 is because he's not going to be ready till like November. So you're really getting him for 2023 more than anything. I mean, unless we made a run, which is still unlikely.
Unless you sign him to like a 3-year deal or something like that, secure him for a couple years, not just like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if I signed him, like I'm wanting him for future years more than this year. I'm really signing you just to get you on board this year.
Yeah.
But I would definitely still do it because I believe in Odell's talent. I think it's crazy high. His ceiling is incredibly high. And then I have a third guy listed here, and this guy I'm really just hoping will fall under the radar and get like paid shit. Will Fuller. Because he didn't do anything last year. Bro, his talent is real, though. He had almost 1,000 yards with the Texans the year prior.
Yeah.
So, and he's a speed demon. That's what we need on this team. He's faster than Chark. He's faster than anybody we got on this team.
He took some mental time away, too.
Yeah, I mean, I was interested in Ridley. I believe in talent,
I'm saying,
bro.
like, I know, I'm just saying, like, Fuller, I just feel like he's not all the way committed anymore, I feel like.
This guy's not rich. So
I mean, he just
that's
made 10
why.
mil last year.
Yeah, bro, but that's like nothing compared to what you can make in career
He's
earnings.
not a 10 mil guy. He got way more than he should have got.
Because he didn't play.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the Dolphins still freaking paid him 10 mil for a year.
Why do I care about that?
You're saying he's not rich.
I know, that's not. But, dude, that's not rich. He had a rookie deal and got a $10 million contract. Like, you didn't make bank. You didn't even have a long-term deal that got you a shit ton of guaranteed money. Like, there's still money to be made for you. You can blow $10 million and go broke.
I know, but I'm saying you got paid 10 mil and you barely touched the field.
So what? Last year has nothing to do with this year. I mean, if his mind's right, if he's like, hey, I'm fucking going broke here because I've been blowing money because I'm rich and that's what rich people do, he's going to want to make more money. And in order for him to make more money, he's going to need to perform. So if I can get him on a $5 million, like 2-year, $10 million contract, yeah, I'll fucking do that shit.
I'm giving him 2 mil, not even.
You're tripping, dude.
What about this guy? You forgot someone again. Cordero Patterson.
Dude, I'm not that. You're telling me you'd rather give Cordell Patterson $10 million a year than Will Fuller?
I'd rather have. You're talking about your list. I'd rather have Patterson over Fuller.
No, I wouldn't.
Are you
I
kidding
definitely
me?
wouldn't.
Oh
First of all, Cordell's going to cost more money, and Cordell does better shit as a running back than a wide receiver. I'm looking for a true wide receiver. Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, dude, it took him this long to get as good as he is. I could definitely see him dropping off. This is his one standout year with the Falcons, bro. Like, he has not been some monstrous player. Will Fuller almost had 1,000 yards receiving.
He was on PEDs. That's why.
I don't give a fuck. Just
so
don't
he's
get
a cheater,
caught,
man.
Just don't get caught. If we can win games. Okay, but now maybe he's learned a little. Maybe he's learned the
Obviously
game.
not, because
better.
he didn't play last year.
But it had nothing to do with that.
He didn't learn shit.
Whatever, dude. Tripping. I'm all about opportunity. I mean, if I can get a guy at $5 million a year that can actually make an impact on my team, even if he doesn't make an impact on my team, there are way more risks that you can take out here. Odell is kind of almost up. Well, no, he's not a big risk.
All I'm arguing with you is I would rather have Cordell Patterson than Will Fuller.
I think you're out of your mind.
You're
I would
insanely
never rather
on
have
drugs
Cordell Patterson.
right now.
I mean, one of Cordell Patterson's strengths is kick returning, and I don't need a fucking kick returner. Okay, and I don't need a running back.
You can use him as his own.
I'm not
playbook?
looking for a gadget player. I'm
God.
looking for starting wide receivers that will be in on the outside every single play. And Will Fuller is a guy that can do that. He has the ability to do that, regardless of whether he did last year or not. The year prior to that, he did. So, I mean, shit happens. People go up and down. Like, I wouldn't have not been interested in Ridley just because he dipped out on the Falcons. Like, if I can get verbal confirmation from you that you are interested in playing, you're motivated to fucking do some shit, then yeah, I'm willing to bet $5 million on it because that's not that much money. Like, if you want a starting wide receiver, you're normally going 10 mil and up.
Yeah, what about Cedric Wilson?
No. I mean, I don't know why his market is so high. I actually would have been, like, okayly interested in him if I could get him for, like, 2 mil, like receiver 4 type money, but
he thinks he's like what 6.
They're saying like 8 mil. Like, and nah, dude, ridiculous. I saw you mess up so many times. Honestly, even if you were cheap, I'd still have to think about it. So no, I've just seen him mess up too many times. And then I'm also throwing out a running back that I'd be interested in for cheap and cut Carlos Hyde, and that running back would be Raheem Mostert. I think that he's not going to get a lot of money. He's been injured like year after year after year, and even when he performs, he's performing in that San Francisco 49ers offense that has just killed with running backs. Like, it doesn't matter who the running back is. They've all done good. So
there's a couple good running backs coming out or in this draft, or I'm sorry,
free agency. Yeah, there is, but I'm
James
looking for
Conner.
somebody super low because we have 2 running backs. Yeah. So I'm looking for somebody that, like, just in case they're not ready week 1, I can play you for 2 weeks. So that is who Raheem Mostert would be to me in this situation. So that's why I'm pointing him out. And then because we went and tagged Cam, I still want to get like a big ticket impact, one defensive player. And because I know we're probably going to go O-line as with the first pick,
I know who
I
you're
want
going.
to add one. Do you?
I know who you're going to say.
For edge rusher?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Who am I going to say?
Chandler Jones, buddy.
Actually, no.
What?
Actually, no. I'm not going to go Chandler Jones. Because
hometown fan? He loves the Jags?
I think that he'd be like way out of our price range. That's
plenty
really
of money.
I mean, that's true, but he's just not who I want to spend my money on. I'm trying to actually get a little more value at that DN position. So there's 2 names that I'm looking at, and the biggest value that I think you could get in the market is Clowney. And I'm only throwing Clowney out there. He had a really good year last year, but the only reason I'm throwing him out there is because his market has not been as high as I've projected it to be the last 2 times he's been a free agent. So I am thinking I can get him for about 10 mil. On like a 2-year, $20 million contract, 20 to 30 mil, with 20 to 25 mil guaranteed. And then a guy that I actually would want more than him, and he might be a little more pricey. He might hit 12, but he might hit 12 to like 14, but he's kind of fallen under the radar, and it surprised me. And that is Hassan Reddick. Because I just think that he's really young, okay? Mm-hmm. He's 27 years old, and the last 2 years he's had 23 and a half sacks, and those were his 2 breakout years. He really didn't do too much before that, but that's good production, dude. Yeah. And he did it with the Cardinals, and then he went over to Carolina and did it there. So, I mean, I'm willing to pay a little bit more for that because he's younger. So that's a guy that I'm eyeballing, and then I feel like we need one more linebacker too. So these are just potential people that the first one is somebody that's you're gonna have to pay some bank for. But I'd be happy for it. Devondre Campbell, that's my number 1. I mean, he could definitely be your Mike and be a true Mike, and then that ease up some responsibility for Jack, and we'd probably be better in the run game, which we were solid last year. But I just that's a good move that I would look at making. Given the right circumstances, if I couldn't get one of the edge rushers, basically,
I thought
I got outpriced for that.
I think you're going to go the recently released Bobby Wagner.
I would be interested in Bobby, but the thing is, I think that there's a 0% chance that Bobby would be interested in us.
Why not?
I think that because he's made a ton of money, and I think he wants to win.
He wants to plan for retirement. You come to play in Florida. You retire here. You got no state taxes. You living in luxury, man.
I mean, I'd be interested, but he's older too, so that's another thing. I just don't think we're ready. He's 31?
Yeah, he's not
I thought
old.
he was like 34.
He came out the same year as Russ.
Okay.
So he's not too old.
Okay. I mean, I'd be interested in Bobby if there was mutual interest there. I would. I really would. But I just don't think that there will be. Hit. And I think that he'll cost. I think he's gonna be expensive. He's gonna be like top 3 linebacker, even with his age. It doesn't matter. He's really good.
Freaking legend.
So and then a cheap guy that I think will be cheap. I don't know that he'll be cheap, and I could be totally off on this guy because I also was interested in Jalen Smith, and he's looked terrible since he's left the Cowboys. But Leighton Van Daresh is somebody that if his market got low enough, I would be interested in trying to make a move for him because we've seen the talent with him in the past. We've dude, his rookie year, people thought he was the real fucking deal. So I mean, if I can try to bring some of that back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I think that on a fair, cheaper deal that he would be worth it.
I think he's going to be cheap too.
I do. Yeah. I think that he's fallen off to a level that people aren't going to be willing to pay a lot of money for. And I want to go back to the tight ends for a second because there's one thing that I forgot to bring up. We're done with Jaguars talk. Mike Gesicki, the guy, one of the tight ends that got franchise tagged and really screwing the tight end market, he actually filed a grievance against the NFL because he wants his tag to get paid wide receiver money.
Okay, Jimmy Graham.
And his logic behind this is, one, we've seen Jimmy Graham try this in the past.
Exactly.
His logic is that he plays slot way more than he plays an actual tight end set on the field.
He does, though.
He definitely does. Here's what I'm going to say about it. it's definitely going to get shot down. It
Hell
got shot
yeah.
down with Jimmy Graham, which is the exact same scenario. And who was it? Greg Olson talked about it on McAfee today. He said basically the NFL made some bullshit up about they made the feet between like where you line up and counted, and counted those as snaps for Jimmy Graham, and that was their justification for not allowing it. I think they're going to do some similar shit here too.
Yeah.
But I think that they have a point, dude. Like when you play in the slot like that, like maybe you should get paid as a receiver, because I saw something that showed Cooper Kupp played more snaps in line in a tight end type of formation than Gesicki did.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy.
Damn that. Yeah, I think it was 72% that he played the slot.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But the thing is like that's your own damn fault though. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to come out of the draft and you want to be a tight end. I mean, you should have went to receive. You should have switched over. You know, that's why I get out of that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're gonna start blaming the coaches because like the coaches basically like found their what they're best at, and that's being a receiver. Because Gesicki's not a great
He's not a
blocker at all. So like I think he should have just went to receiver.
Yeah.
Before he came out of the draft, and this one happened. But look, you weren't fast enough, so you didn't think you were gonna do it.
That is very true, my friend. Let's go ahead and move on to a couple of other guys that were expected to be huge free agents, but they didn't get tagged. Instead, they got signed. We got Harold Landry of the Titans getting a 5-year, $87 million contract, $52 million guaranteed. What do you think about that? I think it was fair.
I think that's a great, extension for him. I mean, 25 years old.
But what about for the Titans?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, for the Titans and him. I mean, 25 years old, dude. Like, he's in his prime. It was a 5-year deal. So, and he just came out of a great season. 12 sacks. I think like 75 tackles. I mean, as an outside linebacker, a little hybrid
edge.
Yeah, edge rusher. I mean, that dude is a freaking monster.
I think it was definitely good for both sides.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they didn't tag him and they just banked on the fact that they were going to get him signed to that long-term deal.
That's what everyone's goal is. They want that long-term deal.
But I mean, you still don't want to let him go, though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they just couldn't because of the cap situation. Maybe that was it. Like, if we do tag him, then we'll be screwed. But and he doesn't sign a long-term deal. Because even when you get paid more, like if you sign a big contract, just the fact that you have years down the road makes it possible to keep that salary cap number under.
Yeah.
And then another guy that got tagged, that this was 100% expected, happened super late, didn't get tagged, but ended up signing a deal. Mike Williams, 3 years, $60 million, $40 million guaranteed. Another situation where it was just completely obvious that it needed to happen for both sides.
I feel like the 20 mil a year from Mike Williams is kind of a lot, though.
I mean, it is, but that's what you pay for receivers these days, bro.
Jesus, man. Yeah, you're right. That market's going skyrocket. No wonder Adams wants 30 a year. My God.
Yeah. And then let's go ahead and talk about what teams need to do. All right. We got rebuild or win now mode, because the Seahawks and the Packers both totally went all in win now. Or I'm sorry, the Packers went all in win now.
Oh, yeah.
Seahawks went, we're going total rebuild, ship off Russell, ship off Bobby Wagner. But let's talk about some other teams. We got the Falcons. Are you going win now or rebuild?
Oh, that's rebuild all day. You can't win now with that team. The team stinks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why they're trying to win now, because honestly, you know what's the biggest thing that really tells me, like, dude, you should definitely be in rebuild mode. This quarterback market is huge right now, and you're not going to get more from Matt Ryan than you would right now. So that's another big reason I just feel like you're not going to win with it. Like, dude, Matt Ryan has no chance at success with this O-line. It is so garbage.
No.
Matt Ryan is not a mobile guy. He has absolutely no chance. I think you should try to ship him off and get what you can for him. Now let's go to the Bucks. Basically, this whole division is in here minus the Panthers, because they have nothing to rebuild from. They've been rebuilding for a while now. But the Bucks, win now or rebuild. This is a tough one because of their cap situation and all the people that are leaving. They literally can't keep everybody.
I feel like they're in win now mode, but it's hard for me to like even see that with the quarterback situation right now for the Bucks. But I'm looking at the other spots around them. Like they got the receivers to win now. They just tagged Godwin. You know what I'm saying? Their defense could be kind of suspect because now they're going to lose Carlton Davis because they tagged Godwin instead. But with the pieces there, they can still win now.
Okay. All right. What about this? For me, the Saints, I'm going total rebuild.
Yeah,
mode
you have to read
because
you're fucked with
their salary cap is screwed. Okay, I don't know how you're even going to get a quarterback to play, but yeah, I'm going total rebuild for them. I don't think that they have any chance at winning this year. That's really what it comes down to for me. But I feel like they are going win now though because they did that restructure with Michael Thomas to drop like a ton of cap, and they can't do anything. Like they can't move on from Michael Thomas now unless they get somebody to agree to take it. Like
because of the dead money, right?
Yeah, because of the dead money on the signing bonus with the turning salary into signing bonus magic trick. So yeah, they're still over the cap a ton. I don't know how they're going to do anything. I'm waiting for them to cut a bunch of people, but they haven't done it yet.
They probably will soon. We'll find
and then
out.
I'm throwing this team in here too. They're in your division. A lot of people probably don't look at them as somebody that had anything to rebuild from. But I mean, before this year, they were making the playoffs. The Bears, okay? They just got a franchise quarterback, no first round pick this year. Do they try to win now? And also, what I'm specifically highlighting is their defense because they have some very expensive pieces on defense.
Yeah,
and there is room for turnover there. So do they try to win now, or should they start selling some of those pieces off for some capital?
I think it's time to just rebuild. Time to start over. Time to focus your roster around Justin Fields. That's your guy. That's your you trust him. You got to start building around him, and you're going to lose Allen Robinson. I mean, and just take him out of the picture. You have David Montgomery and Darnell Mooney. That's it. Build around him. You might have to move Khalil Mack. And Akeem Hicks is a free agent, so you're probably going to lose a big-time player there.
Yeah, okay. So let me ask you this. Would you trade Khalil Mack? Because that's your biggest big-ticket item.
I think so, bro. I mean, that's bold to say, but I just think, that's a ton of money that you're going to, save, and you're going to get a lot for Khalil Mack, I still think. Right now in his career, but I feel like you just have to, man. It's not like he's a bad player, just the money situation and where you're at as a franchise. You need to rebuild, and that's one of the key guys that you have to move in order to do so. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're gonna do a rebuild, then yeah, you should definitely see if you can get them 2 first-round picks back.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. And you know who I might call? Actually, no. I was going to say the Raiders, but they have too many good edge rushers for them to really probably give that up. But yeah, I think it's time for them to try to specifically rebuild so that they can get some offensive firepower because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The defensive game just doesn't work as much. And you also have a defensive-minded head coach. So I feel like if you have a defensive-minded head coach, you should bank on him being able to rebuild superstars rather than your offense rebuilding superstars. Yeah. So, yeah. And then I'm going to take the Steelers, all right? For me, Steelers should go total win now mode.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger retired, but I think that helps you, if anything. I think they should be super aggressive in trying to trade for a quarterback, which I know they won't. I just know that's their style. But, I mean, they're still a quarterback away, and they don't need to rebuild because they have so many young, talented players.
They have the pieces there. They just need a quarterback.
Like, they've been rebuilding as they're winning now. Yeah. They've done a phenomenal job of doing that, and I think they just need to make sure that they get a good quarterback. And that's why, for me, if I'm the Steelers, I'm willing to give up. Like, I would have been willing to give up whatever for Russ. And Aaron Rodgers, same thing. So,
well, Deshaun Watson still out
exactly
there.
Deshaun Watson. I could see them going super hard in on that. And then let me ask you: the Browns win now or rebuild?
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm looking at the pieces. They can win now. You know what I'm saying? They can. And when I say win, I say playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. You know, what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm saying they're a winning team. I feel like they're a winning team now, but it just all depends on Baker. That's it. I mean, everything else, maybe get a receiver especially if you're gonna release Jarvis, Landry. I mean, you definitely need more weapons for Baker, but this is it for Baker. This is definitely. We said this last season.
It's do or die.
We said this last season, but I feel like this is it, man. This is definitely the season. We don't want to hear I was banged up all year. You got the surgery already. You're going to rehab it. You're going to come back fully healthy next season. No more excuses, Baker. This is it. This is your career this year.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, though. Jarvis Landry, does he stay, yay or nay?
I don't think so, man. I mean, after we talked about his cap hit or there's like no dead money with Jarvis and he's getting paid $16 million. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the receiver market now. It's getting outrageous a little bit. I mean, Mike Williams getting $20 million. What if you do let go of Jarvis? Are you just banking on like signing like?
That's what I'm asking you because I would not get rid of. I've already said I would not get rid of Jarvis Landry. Because of that, especially if you're trying to win now. Like if you're trying to win now, I think
he stays. Actually, I think he stays. But the way the offseason's been going this far, man, we'll probably get the update as soon as we get off air.
Yeah,
Browns cut Jarvis Landry.
Honestly, if it doesn't happen within the next few days, I always assume like if free agency starts and you're still on the team, I always assume you're going to be on the team going into the year because like to me, it's an asshole move to cut you. After teams have spent their money. Like, that is dickheadish. We've seen it in the past. Tyrone Matthew for the Cardinals got cut, like, after the big free agency market, and he ended up signing a one-year pretty cheap deal with the Texans, and I just think that's an asshole move, and you should try not to do it. But
if they did cut him, would you want him for the Jets?
Yes, actually. I'd be very interested. I mean, the receiving market has dried up so much, dude.
Yeah.
So much. And then last but not least, I actually think this is the toughest one to answer. The Vikings. I mean, I think they missed the last 2 years.
What? Oh, the playoffs? Yeah. I think they were in win now mode. You have to be. I mean, just look at that offense.
Yeah.
I know the defense sucks. Like, that is the number one thing they need to focus on in the draft. Defense. That's if you get some solid guys there, they could win now.
Okay.
They could come out of the wild card. I don't think they're going to win a division because now that Rodgers is back, I feel like automatically the Packers are the favorite to win that division. But I definitely can see them making a wild card for the playoffs.
Okay. I think it's doable. But let me ask you this, because if you're in win now mode, you're trying to free up some money, you're trying to bring in some people to improve that defense.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, long-term deal in order to kick money down the road. Yay or nay?
No. I mean, and that's the one thing that's hurting them the most, man. If he can restructure that contract, which he already said he's not going to.
Yeah. If they want.
It's kind of hurting.
Because honestly, like restructuring at this point means only one thing, a pay cut. Because there's nowhere to restructure the money to. So, like, when they say they're asking Kirk Cousins for a restructure, 100% they're asking for a pay cut.
Exactly.
So, I would actually I would do it. I would actually do it because I'm with you. I think that they have a phenomenal offense. And although Kirk Cousins isn't amazing, just based on the fact that I can kick it down later and try to win this year, like I'll deal with it after this year. If he sucks and we can't work it out, then maybe I'll look at seeing if I can get rid of him or move on from him. But for now, I would add another 2 years. I would offer him another 2. Maybe he might make you do 3. So maybe 3. That's the most I'll extend you.
Well, yeah. And you're saying like he was like the front guy to be like, go get Kevin O'Connell. Right. You know, if you really like this guy as your coach, like why not? Why not want to restructure? And then maybe you push more years.
Yeah. From Kirk Cousins' perspective, I see no reason why he wouldn't if they offered him something that was worthy.
I would, if I'm just looking at the receivers, man. If I know I have Justin Jefferson, like, how long, 2-3 more years because of his rookie contract. If I know I have him for that long, I'm definitely going to want to try to be there that long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Most certainly, my friend. All right, so we've hit the win now or rebuild. Let's go ahead and talk about the player side of things. Well, before we get to the player side of things, we're going into free agency. I'm going to give you my most QB needy teams going into free agency. I'll tell you why, and you let me know afterwards if you would move anything around. So, my number 1 QB needy team is the Steelers. And the reason it's the Steelers is because their roster is, first of all, they have no quarterback. We know this. They have literally nobody at QB1.
Yeah.
Second, reasoning to put them as the number 1 spot is I think they're the closest. Like, given not making any moves on free agency, what they've lost this year, they are the closest roster-wise. Their defense is very talented. The front seven is solid. Yeah. That's good. Your back end, specifically the corners, could use some work, but the receiver talent is there. Chase. What am I going to do this? Chase Claypool. And then Deontay Johnson, both of them monsters. Pat Freiermuth has come out and looked good. Need a little improvement on the O-line. Running back is solid. So that's why I got them as my number 1. And then number 2, the Bucs, because they're similar. They are similar. They are going to lose some people. They're not going to be as strong. But if you insert Deshaun Watson, this is a playoff team. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy G, it could potentially be a playoff team. So, I mean, even if you get a game manager, you still are in a good position to win. So that's why I got them sitting at 2. Number 3 is the Colts. Honestly, them and the Bucs are interchangeable. I put the Bucs above them because I think they're closer to winning due to the coaching staff. But the Colts also have a very good roster. Their entire defense is good. I like everything on their defense. Maybe you could use a little help on the edge rushers. But overall, I love everything about their defense. And then they need a left tackle and wide receivers. And that's pretty much like the downfall. But insert another quarterback again, Jimmy G. I mean, you basically have a Carson Wentz team, but they look like they're trying to win now. I mean, they freed up that cap space off of the trade, ditched off of Carson Wentz. They're ready to make moves. They have a ton of cap space, so that's why I'm putting them up there. And then third, I'm going to go fourth, I'm going to go the Saints. They have absolutely nobody, but they're not in win now mode for me. There's nothing you can do. Everybody. You need to wait this out. So it's going to be hard for you to even get a quarterback at this point. I have no idea what they're going to do. I'm watching them so heavily just to see, like, who are you going to end up with that quarterback? Because I have no idea how you're going to sign anybody. And then behind them, I have the Panthers. I think it's just an absolute crap fest over there with Sam Darnold. I could see them making a move for a quarterback. They are just in desperation mode. Like, they're a team that kind of needs to revamp the offense, in my opinion, but it's too late because you have a coach that's been there for 2 years and has made, like, honestly, very little progress. He's improved the skill position, and the defense looks pretty solid. Yeah. I actually like their defense, very talented, but dude, I don't know how you're going to make anything work. But Sam Darnold is not it. No. And this tells you how bad I think that Sam Darnold is, because I have some teams behind this team that a lot of people would probably argue to put ahead, but I just don't believe in Sam Darnold at all. Next, I'm going the Seahawks with Drew Locke. Okay, they're going to need to make some moves. I would trust Drew Locke over Sam Darnold, sadly enough. I really would. And then behind them, I have the Giants and Daniel Jones. I just think that that sucks. That's a shitty situation. I know that they say they're going to try to play it out, but I just don't know if it's going to go down that way. And then the last 2 teams I have, these teams, I don't hate their quarterbacks. I just don't think you'll ever win a Super Bowl with them. I got the Browns next, and then the Detroit Lions. All right. Baker, I only put Baker above Jared, honestly, because he's younger, because I haven't seen as much. I do think you can make an argument that you could put Jared above him because he's made the playoffs like multiple times and Baker's only done it once. But regardless, they're about the same. Like, I look at them in about the same tier. Baker's more mobile. So I don't know. They're about the same, but I think both of those guys, I would make a move this year. Like, if I was the Lions, I would be in the Deshaun Watson race. That would be the only race I'd be in, but that would be the race that I would try to fit myself in. And the Browns, I would probably be in like every quarterback race. Like, I would be done with Baker, but I understand the logic of giving him another year. Yeah.
I kind of agree with your list. I would swap the Colts with the Bucs. Okay. Just because, like, I feel like they have the best roster right now, like, that doesn't have a quarterback. I definitely think, like, who's your number 1 again?
It was the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers would. Actually, I think the Colts would be number 1 for me. Yeah, just because I like the Colts roster better than the Steelers roster, and just because of the O-line aspect of it, because Steelers are about to lose a bunch of guys from free agency on their O-line. So that's going to be a huge, huge freaking loss for them.
But keep in mind that they do have money. Like, they don't have as much as the Colts, but they have a lot more than they're used to having.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're losing like two starting O-linemen, unless they re-sign them, of course. But I don't know. I feel like the Colts have a better roster right now, in my opinion, than the Steelers do.
Okay.
So I'll put them number 1, Steelers number 2, and I love Mike Tomlin. I feel like no matter what, he'll have those guys ready to play. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely have the Steelers 2, Bucks 3, same reason. I like Bruce Arians, and they have weapons on offense. I don't know about their running back situation because Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are free agents, to be. So that was another position that they need to worry about as well. And I mean, I'm with you at all these other teams. Like, the Panthers, I think they're right behind the Bucks for me because
really,
yeah. Well, I mean, they do have weapons unless they trade McCaffrey, which is possible, guys, because we have the rumors now that McCaffrey could be on the move next. But, dude, I mean, you touched on it. Their defense is solid. They have some good weapons like DJ Moore. We'll see about Robbie Anderson to see how long he's going to be there. But if you insert Deshaun Watson on the Panthers, dude, with McCaffrey, DJ Moore, that defense, like, man,
okay.
that could
fair
be,
argument.
That
I
could
could see
be
why you'd put them over the Saints.
Yeah, well, just because the Saints,
yeah,
they have no weapons.
Yeah, they don't. But you know why I still left them above them is because I just think they have a better chance at winning because I believe in their coaching staff more. I believe in the fact that the organization has consistently done it, and they even with Sean Payton gone, they still have the same structure in place.
They have everybody else there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Giants would be. They would be. I think I put the Giants above the Saints, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because
you swing them all the way up there.
Yeah, just because I mean, I
hate their roster.
I don't think the Saints are gonna be like a 5 or 6 win team, bro. I mean, if they're gonna lose Armstead,
you think it'll be less?
They might be a 5 win team.
Oh, 5. I thought you were saying they won't.
Just because, like, man, that's the biggest like. When we talked about last season, like the Texans were like, they have nobody. That's how I feel like about the Saints. Other than they have a great defense.
I still think they have a decent amount of pieces in place.
The defense won't win them games.
The offensive line is still pretty much intact besides Armstead, and they are good. Like Ramczyk is a fire.
Yeah,
I feel like they're probably going to move him from right to left, honestly, because left tackle is so much more important. Yeah. But and then if you can actually get Michael Thomas back to the level he was at. But I mean, I see it. I understand they have a wide range to me. Like, and it all depends on the quarterback. If they can get a quarterback, I think that they could be competitive. I just don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know how you get one. Are we going to see Ian Book start next year?
Oh, hell no.
No, it'd be Taysom. It'd be Taysom. But I mean, if they got nobody. But let's go ahead and move on because we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
Now, just throwing this out here right now, for 2023, my hot seat QBs going into the 2023 offseason, these guys need to perform or they're going to be. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think that these guys are in danger right now, but I think they could be after this season.
Okay.
I'm going Carson Wentz number 1. I mean, we just keep seeing him get thrown back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Hot potato.
Second, Kirk Cousins. I think you need to pull off a playoff appearance for you to stay in Minnesota. So I'm putting him right behind him. And then I'm actually going to go Ryan Tannehill next. You need to make a run. I'm not going to say you need to make it to the Super Bowl, but you need to win 1 or 2 games because your blow up in the playoffs this year was like close to unforgivable.
Yeah.
Really close to unforgivable. If it wasn't for the fact that you helped keep that team together when you literally had nobody left because you lost Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown, that's the reason that kept you off of the hot seat coming into this offseason. And then two other teams or 2 other quarterbacks that really probably shouldn't be on the hot seat, but I just don't believe in them so much. The first one would be Zack Wilson. I just think that he is garbage, and I think if he has a garbage year, like he did, like there's a chance that they give up on you fast. And then another person is Davis Mills, mostly because like he looked so bad to start the year. First of all, he did improve, which leaves him at a super question mark for me. Like I don't really know what to expect from you coming into this season, and I think that they didn't spend a ton of draft capital on you. I mean, it's a 3rd round pick. Granted, it's the first pick of the 3rd round, but regardless, that's something you can move on from relatively quickly, and you could trade something and actually get something back for Davis Mills. Is there anybody that you think I'm leaving out?
Yes. My number 1, Baker Mayfield. This is Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I definitely missed on that.
This is Baker Mayfield's.
Baker's on there
This
too.
is number 1 for me because
good call
the reason because he's not guaranteed contract after this. Like Kirk, isn't he under contract one more year? I think
no.
This
is last year.
Okay, so I understand the Kirk, but the even Carson Wentz is paid for the next 3 years.
Yeah,
that's the reason why I put Baker over him. So I would say Baker number 1, Kirk number 2, just because like this is it. Like I said, this is it for Baker, man. And Kirk, he's so overpaid. So this is going to be the year like you're going to drop off.
Yeah,
like money wise, like you're making.
You're not going to get that same contract. Especially if you don't perform, you're not getting that same level contract.
I think this is Kirk has to go deep into the playoffs this season.
Think deep?
Yeah, like NFC Championship game.
Wow.
Because how much he's getting paid. Like if he doesn't get that far, he has no leeway of like what negotiations.
But
are
what
on the table.
what if? So because I feel like the hardest argument for Kurt is that the offense did put up a ton of points. The defense was just giving up a ton of points.
Yeah.
So, like, what if it's a scenario where he is putting up mad points? The defense is still giving up mad points. You slide in the playoffs and you're a first-round exit.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to fall on you, though, of course, because you're a fucking quarterback. But, yeah, I can see that happening as well. It's just going to be tough for Kirk to be like, I want, more money.
Yeah.
You're getting paid
it's hard to demand
$35
things when you're
million.
losing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so next season, I think no matter what, unless he goes to the NFC Championship game or, the Super Bowl, he's getting paid about $15 million less than what he's making this year, no matter what. And I feel like he's going to get fucking pissed off about that. And it's going to cause some turmoil between him and the Vikings. But, dude, at one point, you just got to be like, you got to bite the bullet and be like, I got my money. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm going to get that much money ever again. Unless he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think he was $35 million for Kirk Cousins is highway robbery. So
all right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to our last segment of this show. We are going to throw darts at these quarterbacks and try to figure out the best fit and guess where they will land. Okay. So let's start with the high price, high ticket item everybody's been looking for 2 years. Deshaun Watson. Max, who do you think ends up landing Deshaun Watson? We're not going to go into compensation or what they'll have to give up, but who do you think will be willing to give up the most and land him?
You know who can possibly get him? Prison.
That's true.
Because
we don't know. This is I know. So this is kind of a relatively new development because most of these are civil cases, but there is, and I don't know a ton of legal shit, all right? But I just know that an attorney general is trying to basically present their case the same day that he does those civil lawsuits. Yeah. So that, I don't think he'll get traded before that because nobody is going to want to risk all that for somebody that might end up in jail, just like you said. But if he can clear that, when I think that somebody will finally pony up and give everything they got for him.
If he is completely 100%, all the civil
so we're just going to assume that happens.
Okay.
We're going to assume that happens. Where does he land?
I'm trying to think. Not the Colts, just because they play in the division. They would never trade in between that. Like Texans would never trade with the Colts. And if he has a no trade clause as well too, so he has to accept it.
He does. He has to accept the team.
Damn, that's gonna be tough. I can see. Jesus, that's so tough to say. I can see the Giants doing it, maybe. Just because,
Giants. Okay.
I know it's a dart.
That's a sleeper. Nobody talking about them.
There. I know, but the thing is, it's in the NFC. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those teams where, dude, you are just so desperate at this point of time, like in your career, like franchise, dude. Like you haven't won in so freaking long. This is the last year with Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? So like, just anything's possible at this point.
Okay.
Fuck it. Here's 6 first rounders. I don't care anymore. We obviously aren't doing anything right over here.
And they do have the capital to do it. They have 2 first rounders.
Exactly. And Dable, the ball. I always say his name wrong. But I think, dude, with Watson and Dable, that could be nice.
It would be stellar. But I am definitely not going to the Giants. I don't think the Giants have a chance at getting him. I don't think that they're going to do all that to get Deshaun Watson. I just feel like they're not going to be that aggressive. To me, I think it's going to come down to 2 teams. Well, really 3, but I just think that I think that honestly, I think he might not even want to go to the Panthers. And
Yeah.
I think that the Panthers have complications to getting him because they do have like capital. Like it's possible, but I don't know. I just think that one's a little tougher. To me, I think that it'll come down to the Bucs and the Seahawks. If the Bucs can find a way to make it work financially, I think he ends up on the Bucs. That is my prediction, is the Bucs, but the Seahawks will come in second because I know that they will have the financial capabilities and they have mad capital to make it happen. So those are my two teams, but I'm gonna guess the Bucs there. Now let's move to Jimmy G. Who do you think ends up with Jimmy G?
I say the Colts. I mean, we already heard the rumors, so like that's the number one team right now. I could definitely see them trying. Like the Colts would probably just be like, "Fuck it," like we need somebody here. You know, I don't know what the Colts have planned because they're a question mark team for me. It's like, are they trying to rebuild? Like, are they trying to like, you know?
And with football teams pick, they do have I mean, I don't think the Colts are trying to be rebuild just because like they're already built. Like that's all you need is the quarterback. But with the early draft pick, they could try to get a quarterback. It would depend on what Seattle does too, because Seattle will be ahead of them, I believe. I'm pretty sure that Seattle would be ahead of
and the
football
Steelers
team.
are. Oh, you're talking about football team.
Or
we're talking about
Commanders. Yeah, I'm saying like the Colts could draft a quarterback, but I think that, I think the Seahawks have an earlier draft pick, so they could get first dibs on the quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like Jimmy G would probably fit best there for a year. Maybe he'll be like a bridge quarterback or so, but that's who I think the Colts were going to go get.
I'm actually guessing the Colts too. I just think that it makes the most sense. I agree with you. I don't think they'll have a chance of getting Watson because he's in division.
Yeah.
And I think that Jimmy G, although it's like the same exact quarterback,
it is.
I think that it's possible that
Jimmy G
they do it.
Is a winner. That's one thing he
exactly.
is.
They're a team that's good enough to win with a game manager. So that's what it comes down to. But let's go ahead and move to the free agents. All right. Jameis freaking Winston. I'm going to go first here. I think that 100% Jameis ends up on the Steelers. I just see it, and this is why, because I think regardless if the Steelers want to draft a quarterback, they're not going to just skip out on quarterbacks in free agency with that mindset that we're drafting a quarterback. They're going to make a move to get somebody, and I don't think there's, like I've said, they're a conservative organization. I don't see them giving up a ton of stuff to trade for somebody, and I think that Jameis, being the player that he is and the experience that he has, I think Mike Tomlin will just sign him. I think they have the cap space. They have the most cap space really out of these QB needy teams that would still be left, going off of who I've already picked. So I think that's what's going to happen.
I got Jameis going to the Bucs just because that Bruce Arians can. He was there with Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians, and might as well just come on.
You don't think maybe he'll feel a little salty?
He probably will, but you got to understand. Look who we got. In place of you. Like, you can't be mad at that.
But don't you feel like, wouldn't you feel kind of like crappy about yourself? All these guys around you with Super Bowl rings, and you're just like, oh, I came back after you guys won the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I feel like that just makes a lot of sense just because of the whole playbook situation. Like, he doesn't really have to learn anything new. You have the same exact receiving core there. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Just one year deal.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's move on to the smaller free agents. And with these guys, I want you to predict if they will, not only the team that they'll go to, but if they'll end up starting for that team. We're going to start with the hottest guy outside of Jameis, which is Mitch Trabisky.
Well, I'm going to take another team that I thought could get Watson. This is the Giants, just because of Dabble.
Okay.
And he went to that's where Trubisky played last year. That's where Dabble was last year. I just feel he just, I don't know why, but he just likes the guy. And why not? Why not them sign, Trubisky on a 1 year, compete with Daniel Jones, maybe win that starting position.
Does he win the starting position?
I feel like he could. Yeah, I feel like he could over Daniel Jones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually picking the same thing. That's why I think the Giants is a home run swing with Dabble. They already know each other. He's going to know the playbook that he's going to want to install. And I think that, yes, he does start. I think he'll win it over Daniel Jones because I think Daniel Jones sucks. Okay, Marcus Mariota.
That's going to be interesting. Like, he's kind of screwed now because all these teams are getting, maybe he goes to Seattle. Maybe they sign him and give Locke a run for his money. That's kind of like
okay. So does he start?
I think he starts over Locke. Okay. I do.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm thinking that exact same thing. I have him going to the Seahawks and definitely starting over Drew Locke.
I mean,
I think he's due for another opportunity because he's done good stuff. Honestly, Marcus Mariota lacks in the passing game. He definitely does. He's a little inaccurate, but his mobility, that's really where I see it as such a fit with the Seahawks. I just think that they already like running backyard bullshit plays with Russell Wilson. So I think that they're going to get him as a bridge. I could definitely still see them getting somebody in the draft too.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that he'll end up being the starter for this year.
He's like a poor man's Russell Wilson. Oh, very poor man.
very
poor man Russell Wilson.
All right. Teddy B.
Man, Teddy B, I think he's done starting in this league. I don't know. Maybe no. I don't think he goes back there. I have no idea where Teddy B is going to go.
Okay.
I mean, maybe Washington as a backup. Okay. No, I don't think he starts. I mean, no, Washington will keep Taylor.
Okay.
I don't freaking know where Teddy B is going to go. Denver as a backup? Maybe he comes back.
Just left Denver.
I know. Maybe he comes back. Honestly, I don't know where Teddy B is going to go.
For me, I do not think Teddy B starts at all.
Hell no.
But I think that he's going to go somewhere with a young quarterback. I feel like he's going to be a backup and like a mentor, and they're going to tell him like, you could be the bridge.
Yeah. Like Houston.
But he won't be. Yeah. Well, Houston. Yeah, I could see a Houston re-sign, but I don't know because they didn't seem like they liked him.
Yeah.
Like they kind of talked bad about his play a little bit. I could see after Jimmy G's gone, I could see 49ers. So I'm just going to throw 49ers in there. I could just see 49ers.
He's played so many teams too.
I know.
It's like.
And then who did I just do?
Teddy B.
Teddy B. I'm sorry. I was looking at two names. He did not just leave. No,
Denver.
I'm sure. Yeah, he did just leave. I'm just confusing myself. It's been a long day, guys. We're running down to the final hours. We're almost done here. Let's move on to Tyrod Taylor. Does he start? Guess it.
No, fuck no. I don't even know if he gets signed anywhere, bro. I think his career might be done, man. Good old Tyrod, bro.
I'm going to guess no starting, but I think that the Browns bring him back as a backup.
I don't know about that.
Why not?
I don't know. I just feel like he had some bad blood there, too.
Different organization. Yeah. Different people in place.
Yeah.
All right, now, we know that Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers, but they still have Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Should the Packers trade Jordan Love?
No.
No?
No, because you have to have a backup, man. You have to have a backup there.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to take this from here because I think they should 100% trade Jordan Love. He's not going to be there after his contract's going to expire before Rodgers leaves. So? Okay. If you can get anything for this guy, which you probably can't get shit because he looks like garbage every time he's on the field. But I would say I would just get rid of Jordan Love and take whatever I can get. I'm going to guess. I'm just going to throw a random spot out that he could pop up, and I'm going to say football team for like a 5th round pick.
I just don't understand why you would trade him.
I think that he ends up staying the Packers, but I'm just saying that I would trade him. All right, now last two, okay? Ryan Fitzmagic, Cam Newton. Do they even sign to a team or are they on the house?
I think they're done.
Both of them?
Especially Ryan. He pulled his hip out of place. Dude's going to retire. He's 40 years old now. Well, he's 39, but he's turning 40 soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Fitzmagic is just going to step down by himself. I don't think he's going to be interested. And he, just like you said, that injury is like rare, and it's just like it could be a tough rehab back.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, I think that he's good enough to be a backup in the NFL, but this is the thing. Cam Newton is a huge name. Cam Newton brings distractions. Just his existence, his swag,
his ego,
and his play is not worthy of that.
Yeah.
So that is why I think Cam Newton doesn't necessarily retire, but I think the NFL retires him.
Oh.
So that is our free agency episode. We'll obviously get into the updates as people get signed. We'll talk about if it's a good fit or not. But listen, you got our QB frenzy. We know what the Jaguars need to do. And Packers are fucking happy. So screw you.
Hey,
we're out of here. Peace.